In 2018, I first played Planet Coaster. And let's just say my coasters didn't exactly look the best. But over the years, I've built multiple parks across different games. Each time learning, creating, and pushing my ideas further. A few years ago on Theme Park 2, I even created a park called Dream Park. And now I want to take that idea further in Planet Coaster 2 with my brand new project, Dream World. Planet Coaster 2 actually released a year ago, but at the time it had bugs and issues, so I decided to not start right away. Now, after lots of updates and improvements, the game finally feels like it's in the state it should have been at launch. And that's why I'm starting this new series, Dream World. A park where I'll bring my favorite parks to life, each with its own unique theme and story. And which worlds are that? Well, you'll discover that as the series goes on. So let's dive in together. Welcome to Dream World. And here we are, a fresh plot of land. There's nothing yet to be seen. Well, apart from the car park I built the past week. But we are going to be building my dream world right here. And I think we just have to get started. So let's click on scenery. And yeah, I need some walls. And I'm planning to use these marble blocks for the entrance. I just need to give them the correct color, which should be that. There we go. Now we have the piece of the wall itself, but I have already created a little bit of a leadway heading towards the entrance of the park, so I need to make sure it's, well, the same angle, not what it's now. In front of the entrance there will be some sort of plaza, so I guess I will have to move the entrance itself quite far back. For the entrance, I want to create like this sort of like big arch with the logo of Dream World on top of it. And I think this arch itself is definitely too small. I think I want to make that a little bigger, which I think means I will have to make this myself. For the size of the gate, it will be something like this. So if you remove this, we are going to be walking through this to enter the park. And on the left and the right of the entrance, there will also be buildings. But let's just first focus on the gate itself. And this is one of the very first times I'm building inside of this game. I do not know the best ways to create things, so I am just doing what I think is how you should do it. Probably doing a lot of things wrong, but we'll just see how far we get with this series. I know this might be looking very strange at the moment, and I definitely have to agree with that. But it will turn out as hopefully something. Let me just try and make this arch on top of here. So if I delete these pieces, you can already see a little bit more the shape I am going for. And I think in terms of size, that's pretty good. I'm not sure if it will stay in this position. It can maybe move forward or backwards, but kind of like this. And as you can tell, I'm first trying to get the actual shape of the arch there, and then we'll of course add all the details, since I feel like if I'm going to start adding all type of detail in here, it's going to go everywhere. So first the base, then we do the detail. All right, there we go. We now have this very simple shape of the arch. I know this part might look a little bit weird, but I will fix that. And now I actually need some pillars and poles, but we do not have that in this style. And I think if I start using these type of pillars, they just look completely different. Yeah, that's not ideal. I do feel like these are somewhat similar, but then they're still like blocky, or they have like this weird like marble texture. I think that will just mean I have to make it myself. And that definitely does not rotate in the middle, does it? And I think a pillar like this is actually going to look pretty good. Now I just need to make sure this goes down. I will rotate it a few times so it doesn't have the same pattern the whole time. And I don't actually think I need the things at the bottom. What I luckily can do is easily scale this bigger and add some more shape into the pillar itself. And I just need to make sure I center the pillar right here in the middle. And I'm also just going to copy this over to the side so I have it. And oh, I forgot this whole piece here. And that is now fixed. All right, there we go. Now we have the pillar that comes there. Okay, that's already starting to get a little bit more shape, as you can see. This has only taken like 30 minutes to make. So let's copy that over to the rest of the build, since I want of course this entrance also to look from the back. And then I'm going to select the same pillar again and make sure I somewhat put it again in the middle. I don't think I'm going to be able to manage it perfectly. Wait, why is this so much smaller? Uh-oh. It seems like I made a mistake somewhere. And I feel like everything I'm doing, there's probably way easier ways of doing it. But I think the shape I actually really like this. Now I just need to sort of fix the arch, since of course, well, you don't want this to be open. But you know, before I do that, I'm actually going to eat dinner, so be right back. Okay, so I think I actually want to lower this a little bit. It just feels a little too high for what it's doing. I think if we put it like this, actually, yeah, no, that's definitely better. Okay, so for the path, well, of course, this is the path. It will just continue straight, and in the middle here, I want to have actually a plaza, but there will be like a hole in the plaza. So how am I going to do? Probably just a stamp too, and then I will paint over everything again. I think this seems to be a decent size. I just need to yeah, fix this. Okay, here we go. I actually don't really know how big I want to make that. Also, ignore that's not in the middle. It doesn't matter too much, since there will be buildings on either side that will cover up half of the path. Let's actually remove that and move the entrance actually to the center of the path. And looking at this, I think it can be actually a little bit more forward. This looks to be about the middle. There we go. And then right here, we can make like a sort of plaza in the middle, where I will be deleting. I think with the stamp tool, I can remove like a circle. That's definitely too big. But I think if I do that, no, that's still too big actually. I think I can make this actually smaller. I can perfectly fit that within here. I just need to make sure it's in the middle. Now that looks to be all right. And I'm planning to make like a sort of like a fountain in front of here. Now that does mean we need more path on either side. And how I think I'm just going to use maybe the draw tool, see if I can. The problem with the draw tool is that I need to then build the exact same on both sides, which is not easy to do at all. And I don't why did I build this out of step path? Whoops. And you cannot change that. I think this actually looks similar. It's a little different, but I hope once I add the buildings that will be here. I actually don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to be lazing, and I'm just going to use the stamp tool again. Since this won't be the only entrance, you will actually be able to also access through the side. So let's just for now just fill everything in. Now I would love to add like more fancy patterns to the path, but I don't really know how to do that. I do know that you can color paths now. What you could do is like add like some fancy shapes like this to here, which doesn't look the best. Well, we'll care about the path later. Let's first focus on the actual entrance. So we are going to be starting the second building right about here. I'm not entirely sure. I kind of want this here to be like a round tower, or at least at the bottom. So let's start that building right out there. That seems good. And now that I have this, I am actually going to rotate this whole building on a slight angle. And I will build, of course, another building also on the other side, which I think will be somewhat similar to that. That it will also be on a small angle. But this one, instead of a round tower, will have just a square tower over here. The only thing is that the square tower becomes way too big, so I do like this. Just need to use then these pieces, which as always don't snap at all to the building. Why is that? Now I hope I can just rotate this and put it on the other side. But if I have to, oh, actually, let me do that. Perfect. Like this is a good tower. Now where do I want this to be placed? It should be somewhat in the same line. So it's there, it's a little higher. It seems to be about, I think I like this. And of course a tower wouldn't be a tower if it actually, well, didn't go up. Now how high should this be? I don't know, it should definitely be higher than the entrance. So I think, oh, that's actually maybe already too high. Let's do that the same as with this one. And if I'm correct, we actually got these pieces, which are a lot better to use. Because they, of course, are a lot taller. Now, I do want to add windows in this. So I might have to make the bottom custom. But from the rest, I can just hopefully use these pieces. And this tower will actually be the exact same height as the other one. So about there. And on top of here, I actually built it here already. Will be some sort of this. I might actually just reuse this. Okay, so luckily for this, I have the exact piece I want, which is the archway. Where are you? I know you exist. There you are. I want this piece. And this one is probably going to be 4. So what these buildings actually are is the left side will be the main gift shop of the theme park. And the right side will be like guest services, buying a park tickets, stuff like that. So the round building is like more like, I don't know, more friendly. You want to go inside there, and the right one will be like tickets here. But this building will also still have sort of these archways. And this will then be exactly where you can get a ticket. Or actually, I don't think... here should be archways. And if I'm correct, where's that piece? I have to search for it. So on this one. No, it's definitely not that one. Oh, we actually have this piece in this set. Here it is. Behind here, there will be like a second wall where you can actually get the tickets themselves. Where if I'm correct, we can put like the information. Guest services. We can place 3 of those right here. And can you change the color of the building? Like, I want to change the blue edge. It doesn't seem like it. Okay, I don't know if you guys are hearing the music from these things. But that's annoying. Oh my god. Yeah, we're closing you. Bye-bye. No, now it's the next one. Oh my god, they all make the music. Go away. Oh, peace. And what I actually can put already in this room, I think is just... Does this fit? Yeah, just these like working things where they... I don't know. These staff rooms. I don't know if they need it, but they will get it. And what I'm going to use for the actual roofs, I think we have these stealth wooden roofs. I think it's this. And I'm just going to quickly steal over the color I used here, since I do of course want that to be the same. I should be able to create a nice roof with these. Can use this for the corner. Yes, there we go. Yeah, look, that already is starting to look pretty nice actually. And if we of course start to add some more detail, like some actual like more beams across, some windows, flags, all the other things, I think that should start to look pretty cool. And figuring out this roof is quite the challenge, but I think I am trying to get somewhat of an interesting shape. I think it does look really good from down here. That's what I'm mainly looking at. So I am definitely happy with the result that's looking like this. The top view is maybe a little bit more strange, but how it's laid out, but I think it will work. The only thing I have to say, which is very annoying about these roofs, is that the only way to extend them a little bit in terms of length is by doing this, which definitely looks better, but you have the Z-fighting. And there is no way for me to really get rid of that. And I don't think I will decorate the inside whatsoever. I will probably just put like a fake door in front of here. But I think the shape of this building is pretty much finished now. I just need to add this roof on top of here. And I am going to probably steal this. The only thing is that it's of course part of that building. Is there a way for me to remove this? Split from building. There we go. Just need to fix up some of these areas. Let's get this here. I think I can... Oh, I want to scale this bigger, but the roof doesn't go with it. I guess I can always change the roof later again. Let's have a look. If we now stand here, ooh, I think that's probably a decent size. There will be like a fence around it eventually once there's detail on it. This has already taken me so far about 2 hours trying to work this out. Yeah, adding all of the detail, the windows, all the other stuff is going to take so long. But yeah, before we go into the time-lapse, let's do the left building, which should hopefully go a little bit quicker, since now I know how I basically made this other building. Although this one will, of course, be different, since I want to have a roof already here, actually, that goes up just a little bit, actually. And I think I can overhang this very nicely. And I can then continue this wall here. And then this will have another roof, but this one will then be a little steeper. And then once again, I think I'm just going to lay out sort of the roof for this one. As you can see, it's a completely different shape, especially from like the ground view. I think this one also looks really nice actually. So you have this one where you can get like your tickets and information and staff buildings, and then this one I will hopefully open all the windows and stuff, and then you can actually go in and buy some souvenirs and maybe some other stuff that will be. And there we go. That's building is now also, the shape itself is now finished. Of course, it's still looking extremely plain, but as I did in this building, I need to add like all the windows. I need to add like these like fancy sort of like beam and stuff across that I did everywhere, which takes a lot of time. And of course, we also have these windows, these doors. We also have these very nice decals to like give some more texture to this. So I hopefully once you start adding like a few of these like minion spots where they like are visible in like corners and stuff, it starts to feel a little bit more realistic. All right, I think I have now at least the base done. Now it's time to add details, work on the plaza, make the area around it look a little bit nicer. I don't think I will do the gift shop itself yet, since, well, I don't actually know what is supposed to be in the gift shop, since we don't have a park. And also hopefully finish off the area. So let's head over to the time lapse. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the time-lapse. This has been a while since I last did a voiceover for a time-lapse. It's probably actually already been over 3 years ago. So sorry if I'm a little bit rusty, if I sometimes say weird things or if there's me saying nothing. Sorry already for that, but let's get into building, or mainly detailing the build, the entrance. We have of course the right building, which is the guest services. We have the main entrance arch in the middle, and then on the left we'll build the gift shop. Now, right now, we can see me, of course, adding detail. It is me just mainly looking through a lot of pieces. I did prepare a few pieces before I actually started doing all of this. You can maybe see them a little bit in the background. I won't be using them all, but I was just, okay, these are the pieces that I maybe could use. But, of course, I didn't use all of them. But I have to say, there are so many pieces in this game. It's insane. Like, I think I spent almost 30 minutes trying to find the few pieces I could use. It is definitely a little bit different than Theme Park 2 that I'm more known for. But yeah, as you can see, I am starting to add a lot more of the pillars. And yeah, these are pillars made of the other smaller like marble block walls with like the 1 meter, 2 meter, 4 meters, since I just couldn't find a piece that looked good that was sort of like this beam or like a pillar. Now, it's mainly just adding a lot of these pillars and then like these sort of like overhangs. I did find these windows and I'm really happy with the windows. I would like the windows to be like more in the building itself, but I guess the only way for you to really do that is if you also would make the walls themselves completely custom. And I don't think that's worth it. Earlier, you also saw me add a little bit of like nature in the front of like the guest services. I will add more throughout the time lapse, but oh yeah, you can see that I crashed and I lost a little bit of progress. Yeah, that was not ideal, but we continue from there. I don't know why it crashed. I was literally just doing nothing and it just boom crashed and I lost like 2 minutes of progress. Not the end of the world. I did have autosave on. If I didn't, I would have lost actually like an hour worth of work. Not great. But I was talking about all the greenery I wanted to play, since the build is of course very like orange, yellow with a lot of blue, so it definitely needed those tints of green, and also we'll add some other colors throughout the build a little bit. And yeah, it's still just adding a lot of these beams. That is mainly just how you add sort of like the more 3D effects, since the build right now is very flat. Like the walls are very flat, so just adding like sort of like these double arches in there, the extra pillars. Now it's just adding tons and tons of windows. It's, well, kind of insane how many I had to place, but I did really enjoy that. Alright, well, now it looks like we're just adding more beams throughout. In a little bit we should start working on, I think it's the archway. And you constantly see me like go a little bit back looking, okay, does this look good, does it look good? Since of course this is basically the first time that I'm building on Planet Coaster 2. I did build a little bit of a mini version of this, of like the entrance for the car park, to see what works, what doesn't work, how do I even build in this game, since I haven't really done that. Of course, as you saw in the intro, I did play Planet Coaster in 2017 and I played the alphas, the betas and all that stuff. But yeah, at this point, that's been like 9 years ago. And we are actually starting to work on the other building on the left. And you can probably see me struggle throughout this time lapse. Yeah, trying to figure out how do I rotate items on an axis. And I'm going to be honest, I still don't know how to do that. So in the end, I literally just am rotating them on like 45-degree angles and like 22.5. It's very annoying, but can someone please explain to me how you can rotate something on like an axis? So have like something in the middle, in the center, and then rotate something around it. Since in Theme Park 2 it's very easy. You select both pieces and it just goes from the middle if you do it like a certain way. But I could not figure out how to do it. I thought if I just select both pieces and then rotate, it doesn't do it, since then the center of it is not exactly in the middle of both pieces, which is very annoying and I don't know what to do about that. Now basically this is the same as the tower on the right, but round, which made it a lot more difficult. I was looking through all the pieces, like what can I do? This doesn't work, that doesn't work, and I basically just ended up on the same marble block 1 meter half with walls. That's a crazy name, by the way, for a wall. And we're just going to be using this piece actually a lot more throughout the whole build. But yeah, we're just placing it up, down, everywhere. We're also like scaling it a little bit smaller. So we have like a second sort of like line beneath it, which looked very nice. Then I realized the roof was a little bit off, so I had to lower that and select everything. That is the thing that's very annoying. You cannot create groups inside of groups. Which, to be fair, now that I'm thinking about it, does sound just logical. But I had to constantly select all of those pieces over and over and over again. And sometimes when you're like selecting multiple pieces, it just stops selecting it. I don't know if I'm like then accidentally like dragging and then instead of clicking, I don't know. It happened the whole time and it pisses me off and I don't know why. It's really annoying. But yeah, we're just also adding these balconies. I think I used some of these balconies also at fences at the top of the towers, with like the sort of like the dome structure. It looked very, very nice. I think also a little bit early actually. I missed it, but I did place some more greenery. Yeah, on this building too. I moved the tree for now just in the middle, but that will, believe me, move back. Yeah, the roofs are difficult in this game, since I feel like you don't have all the pieces you need for the roof. Like, you need like the edge piece, like you can basically see it here. I have to extend the roof, since otherwise it doesn't overhang. You don't have like that side piece, which is very annoying. But I guess we can work around it like that. The only downside is that it starts to seavite, which is also not ideal, but I guess if you just ignore that. The other thing I thought of actually after doing this is building it in a new building group and then lowering it a little bit, but if I have to do that for like 10 pieces, that takes so long and so annoying that it's not worth it, since you don't really see the sea fighting either from far away or from the ground up, not at all even. Now it is actually time, I think, to start working on the gate. And this gate, I have to say, I'm pretty happy with it. In a little bit, you will see something that I have created actually last week already before doing this. But yeah, we're just adding some more greenery. These like little trees, like the fig tree, is really, really nice. It's like still a tree, but very small. It's like they just planted it. It's not that I'm going for a park that has just been built. To be fair, I do not know the theme at all of this entrance area. Like, I used a lot of different sets. I used the fairy tale sets for, I think, the balconies. The windows are from the western set, and most walls are then from like the Greece set. I'm not really sure. But in the background, as you can see, we have the Dream World logo inside Planet Coaster 2. And oh my god, this took long to make. I had to completely track it over with images. It was a pain. But as you can also see, I figured out I can probably rotate the Ferris wheel that's on the logo with like the fancy pieces that you have in this game. And that actually really, really worked nice. And I think it adds like a little bit of life to it. And we'll also be adding some clouds throughout the area a little bit to get more of like that theme. Since of course this is Dream World. Of course, as I said also in the intro, this is I wouldn't say it's a continuation of Dream Park. It's a completely different park or layout, or the themes are not going to be similar at all. But I guess it's like the same sort of universe, you can call it. It's like this the big park. You have like Universal Studios, and then next to that you have the other. What's the other one called? Like the one with the lake. I forgot. Well, we'll continue since we are starting on the lake, or not the lake, like the sort of like the fountain that's going to be in the middle. And this is actually the same piece I'm using that is used for the round tower. I'm just rotating the pieces, and then I'm just going to copy and paste them all over the place. And in the end, you don't even know they are the same. It works fine. Now, I do have to say, I did have some struggles with figuring out how I'm going to do this, since either I can use the real water, but then I had like problems with the terrain. I was like, I don't want to struggle with that. Then I was like, I'm going to use these like water pieces, which I think will work. It just needs like this blue sort of under it. And then I decided, okay, let's just place this everywhere. Didn't work at all. There was like 10 million sea fighting. Looked very ugly. Then I was like, okay, well, I cannot scale these half circle ones or like quarter circle ones bigger. Very weird, since the square one could be bigger than the whole fountain itself. Very weird. But then the water effects, and I have to say, like, of course I come from theme park 2 mainly. This is amazing. All the different heights, the splash effects, the water effects, just it is so nice. I really like it. So what I did, I basically built it in the air to sort of get the height of the water good. In the end, I did not get it good at all, since I had to hire all the ones on the side. But once I did that, I did have like a nice half circle with this. I did want to have something in the middle. For now, I just added lily pads, but I wanted to have a statue or something else. But when I looked through all the pieces, all the nice statues and all the things, you cannot color them. Frontier, I don't know if you're watching this. Why can I not color basically any of the statues? They're all like this sort of like gray color, not the color at all that is my area. So I just decided, well, for now I will just wait. Maybe in the future we can build something our own, something that relates to the park, or just something that fits. I don't really know. Now it was actually finally time to build the park entrance gates. I'm not going to say that I completely forgot them, but I did completely forget them. So I think it was like after 6-7 hours of building, I was like, wait, how are people going to enter this park? Also ignore that I completely put them in the wrong way around. Since I saw that like big red X, I was like, okay, well, that's going to be the exit. No, that's showing that the park is closed, and once you open them, it becomes green. Which, hey, I'm learning. I don't know everything perfectly, but at least those are in. Now, I also wanted to actually make the backside of that gate look a little bit nicer. It's basically the same as the front. That just meant I had to copy over all the pieces also to the back, which took a little bit, same as adding like all the things. I had to make sure the path was basically built all around the entrance. So I had to, most of it, a lot of stuff has been cut out with the paths, but my god, that was quite a struggle with like the stamp tool and then the delete tool and then deleting certain paths and all the other stuff. It was quite a lot of work. Alright, now I think it's just adding a little bit of the final detail to this, just a few more beams, a few more windows. I think I could also out that I'm adding all the decals with like the sort of like the brick texture. You can probably see them a little bit throughout the time lapse, but I think I had over 100 of those stickers. And I have to say they look really cool. In a little bit, when we're actually in real time going to walk around the entrance, you will be able to see them, and we'll also be talking about that. Now I have to say, I really like this. I don't know, I found just these pieces instantly and I was like, that's perfect. So you have this sort of like sphere-ish thingy, and it's like blue and reflective. I don't know how, but it looked good. Now we have a little bit of a time jump here. That was mainly me figuring out how am I going to do those paths. And there's still a little bit of me struggling here with the path too, since I was like, this probably should need a fence. Now then I decided to like change the color of the fence 10 times until I had a good one. So I had to constantly paint over the whole thing. So I constantly changed my mind. But once I added or recolored the paths, as you can see, there's like a black edge basically between the paths and the entrance gates. And I was going crazy. I did not know how to remove that. Later on, I actually did. I still don't know why, but I think I had to enable or disable like foundations on certain things. I don't know what I did, but the black ash is luckily gone, especially on the entrance gate. Then I first played with the terrain tool. Yes, and also a little bit of painting. I'm still experimenting with the paint tool. I mainly just did like the meadow texture and then like long grass, and some other things over it, and was like, looks good enough. I will be placing a lot of these bushes and rocks and trees over it, so it's not really the focus that it has, but I do actually really like it. It was mainly to block the whole entrance being completely open from the parking lot, as you do want to have that immersiveness when you're immersiveness. I don't even know that's English, guys, but to hide sort of the parking lot when you're in the park. And I hope it's going to work. I'm not, of course, sure how the inside of the park is going to look. Maybe some things are going to be removed. I'm not 100% sure. Now, I also was like, we probably should add some toilets, which I added here instead of like the staff building we placed earlier in the video. I even added this like nice mythology sign or whatever it is. Yeah, here you can see me still struggling, trying to delete it. And then I somehow found it. I think it's at 5 foundations. I'm still not 100% sure, but in the end, it did fix it. Just meant I had to repaint the whole paths again. But I'd rather do it now than when I have my whole park full and then I discover it. And we are getting to the end of the time lapse. So let's walk around in the park and see how it turned out. And there we are. This has taken a lot of time. It's more than I would like to admit it, but the entrance area is now pretty much finished. There's probably still some details I can add, and probably also a lot of tips you guys can give me of pieces or ideas I can still add actually to this area, since there's still some open areas to this, well, entrance area, as you can see. So if you have anything, let me know down in the comments. But let's have a look at, well, what I built so far. Of course, you've already seen a little bit in the time lapse, but, well, we of course know the parking lot. I added like these sort of like hills with like the nice nature and everything on it to block a view of the entrance a little bit, and I think it worked pretty good. And then you also have like these walkways going further into the parking lot, so you don't have to go all the way here. Then we have, of course, on the left we have the gift shop, then we have the main gate in the middle, and then sort of like the guest services and the toilet building. Also this in the middle I probably still want to improve a little bit. I just don't really know what to add in here, but I do really like the water effects in the middle. So yeah, on the right here we have, of course, the guest services. I added sort of like these, I don't know, these fences so people walk here. They don't really do it. And also added this. Why so busy? Oh, King Coaster is dancing. Amazing. I don't know why I added him. It's just so people had to do something. And then if we continue, I am really happy with how it turned out, with all the windows, the pillars. I added like a few clouds around, so it has a little bit more of the vibe of the whole thing, and I think that actually worked pretty good. And then, well, on the right here we also have the toilets here. Very simple, it just works in here. Then, well, of course, we have the main gate right here. You might have not seen me make this logo, but I made this like last week. It took probably like 4 hours to make this. It was basically the first thing I made, but I did like change how the Ferris wheel rotates, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. The logo is also on the back side, and I really think all these decals that like sort of like show the brick, and basically I added them on a lot of spots. You probably saw that also. Works really, really good. Well, then we have another entrance right here, and then we have the left building, which has like the round tower. It's a little bit too big, the round tower, but those are just the pieces you have in the game. I would have liked that to be a little thinner, but I think it still works pretty fine. And then, well, we also got the gift shop right in here. It's nothing extremely special, it's just I placed a lot of things all around. And I think it works fine enough. And then you can also enter the gift shop through here in the park itself. But that is basically what we have for the first episode, basically the entrance. Next episode we will actually start building the center area here of the park, and the first gate to the first themed area, which I will review in the next episode what it exactly will be. So I will try to upload this every Saturday. I might sometimes move a little bit around, but I will try to upload this weekly. As said, thank you so much for watching. If you have any suggestions to add or tips or tricks, this is my first build, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe on my channel. And guys, I will say, as always, goodbye.